Hey guys, it's Adam, and I've got to ask you that question. Do you have a lead magnet? Do you know what a lead magnet is? Well, a lead magnet is simply some free information, normally in the form of a PDF or other, that you can give to your potential customers when they log onto your website or hear about you on a podcast or any number of other ways that they can hear about your lead magnet. It is super important for you to have one. Today I'm going to discuss the things that you should definitely have in your lead magnet, the 3 essentials. So let's kick off and talk about it. Hey guys, it's Adam of So You Want to Be an Interior Designer podcast, and welcome to episode 21. Here we are at episode 21. Want to tell you who this show is really designed for. It's designed for you mid-career aspiring solopreneur interior designers or decorators that need support in building their own interior design business whilst you're still working 9 to 5. So my aim is to help you balance your time and make more money whilst you're able to take on the projects you want to work on rather than the ones you need to pay the bills. So if you're watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe. If you're listening to this podcast over on Apple Podcast or any other podcast network, please follow me on there. Leave an Apple review if you could be so kind. That would really help. The other thing I want to offer you is some information. Is your business flailing? Are you kind of doing well in some areas and not so well in others? And do you need some feedback tailored to you on where you need to focus on next? If that is you, why don't you take my quiz? It's over at adamscougall.com/quiz. If you're watching there on YouTube, you can see the details below. adamscougall.com/quiz. It takes about 2 or 3 minutes. It's 15 questions, and you'll get your own tailored report that will tell you what you need to do with your strengths and how you can address those opportunities that come up in that report that is specifically designed and tailored to you. So I'm really keen now to talk about today's topic, which is how to create a winning lead magnet. So I've had a lead magnet for some years, and over time it's enabled me to have people on my email list. I would say consumer email list, which I've grown over the years, and consumers really is my end potential client. Design client. It could be a design client. I also put my current clients or past clients on my email list. But if I didn't have a lead magnet to get fresh kind of interest in for different things in my business, then if I didn't have a lead magnet, I probably couldn't get people on my list. The reason for having a lead magnet is to give people really helpful information that's going to help them with a particular problem that they have in their kind of design aspirations for their home. Could be, planning their new home build, or planning, decorating a room, or putting a new kitchen together. And I'm going to give you an example of someone who is, say, specializing in kitchens as their niche. I'm going to give you an example of what that might look like if you're creating a lead magnet as a kitchen designer, if that's your niche. So let's have a talk about what you can, first of all, before I go into the 3 essentials of what should be in your lead magnet. I want to talk about different ways that you can actually put this magnet together. It doesn't have to be one way or the other. You can be creative with this. The most common way to create a lead magnet is to put together a PDF. So easy way to do this is in platforms like Canva. That's a really easy way to do it. So you're putting together information in a PDF. It might be a few pages long. I never suggest to really create booklets of information because it's not required. But there needs to be some really helpful, useful information in your lead magnet that will entice people to want to jump in and download it. So the most common thing that you can do is create a PDF. That's number one. Another creative thing that I've seen people doing is to create like a video series, and that might be, say, 3 videos about that topic. So that person goes to your website or wherever, and they opt in to receive your video series, and then they're delivered emails over the course of a few days with maybe you talking to them, so they get to know you and put a face to your the name, you as the business, so they start to relate and trust you as you're talking them through this great information you're putting into your lead magnet. But what I'm saying is it could be a video series, a short series of videos that effectively are the information that you might have in your PDF. The other thing is a quiz. So I talked about my design quiz. You could do the same thing. Quizzes can be, you also want to think about the cost. I mean, my current quiz costs me about $49 a month just to keep active. So you too, if you're going to do a quiz, you just need to think about what it's costing you to actually keep whatever the lead magnet host platform is to keep that going. I've got something called Score App for my quiz. The company's called Score App, and that enabled me to put my quiz together. People love to fill in quizzes, I've discovered. So another way that you can offer a lead magnet is to give them a report, so on what they need in their design project. It could be a quiz about kind of working out their priorities, in terms of putting their family kitchen together if you're the kitchen designer. Remember, I'm about to create an idea for someone who's niching in kitchen design. So they're the different ways you can present your lead magnet. Now I'm going to give you the 3 things that you must consider, 3 essentials really, before you create your freebie, because you're going to put some time into this and it needs to be time that's worth investing. So number 1, the essential number 1 thing to think about before you start creating the freebie is, who do you want to attract? So really, we should have an end customer in mind that we're aiming for when we're giving them this fabulous information. So you really want to think about your niche. Now, a niche could be a family kitchen designer. So I'm coaching someone at the moment, so I'm always thinking about this one particular person at the moment who is niching in kitchen design. So an idea, if you're a kitchen designer, may be that you provide, the essentials of putting a family kitchen together, a PDF on that, things to consider, before you start designing your kitchen. So that is a niche. So think about your niche. Number 1 is, who do you want to attract? If you're somebody who wants to help people in the more decorative side, you might think of the mood they want to create for a coastal living room, or a mood they want to create for a Hampton style living room to sort of get really basic there. So if they want to create a Hampton style living room, what are the key essentials? And you might go into a little bit of history on the Hamptons, and then how that translates in any living room, that look and feel and the overall ambience and, the comfort level, perhaps, the things that really make a difference. That's just another example of a niche. Could be Hamptons, coastal design, or you could be a kitchen designer. Number 1, who do you want to attract? Number 2, what do you want them to do with the info? So this is a really important one. Now let's go back to the kitchen designer who is niching in kitchen design. Now, that particular kitchen designer, who we might call Linda might be thinking, right, I want to get people thinking about what they need. So in the freebie, you might actually get the person who's reading this freebie, who's downloading the freebie, get them making an inventory of all their wants and needs. And what's that going to do initially? It's going to get them engaged in being a part of putting together all of their essentials that they could take to a kitchen company who's doing the kitchen design, or it could just start to really become very clear to them what they need in the kitchen and how they need to take that information to whoever, so that it's very clear. So this is going to be, really inspiring the person who's downloaded the freebie and getting them thinking about, what they need. So there could be a couple of notes, a note sheet there with blank space for them to fill in, with a pen or other, the details of what they need. It could be asking them to list out the top 10 things they need, and prompts about, key kind of benchmark areas that they need to address in a family kitchen. Could address pets, could address kids, could address the cook in the house or the cooks in the house. It could also talk about whether they need additional storage or butler's pantry or whatever that the case may be to suit their needs. Study, where are they going to study? Do they want to have a study in the kitchen, a desk in the kitchen, working from home kids, all these wonderful things that Linda as the kitchen designer would want to be creating for her clients. So Linda is giving, say, Jenny, who's downloaded the freebie from Linda, an opportunity to download her wants and needs. And Jenny's going to get pretty excited about all that. The next thing that you want them to do, though, is think about the skill that it's going to need to actually get this realized. So you want to plant some seeds in there that potentially also help them to realize that it's not so easy just to knock up a really bespoke kitchen design, considering all of the wants and needs. Remember, we've got people out there that will invest $100,000 in a kitchen. It's the most important thing in their lives, and they will pump the money into that. You will have that type of person. For the kitchen designer, you'd want to be focusing on those type of people that are really attracted and need that sort of service. You won't necessarily have that much interest from people that don't really care what's in the kitchen. They just need to knock it up, tap and a microwave, and that's about it, fridge. But so you are niching into that family bespoke kitchen where they have lots of needs, and they potentially have the money to spend on that. But you're getting, what's her name, Jenny? You're getting Jenny engrossed in thinking about her wants and needs. She's made all these notes and she feels in control. But you're going to give her also some information in your freebie, or Linda is going to give her information that helps her to realize there's a lot of things that you need to consider that require technical expertise, which really is pushing that person into the suggestion that they may need some professional help. Guess who's going to produce the professional advice and help? Hopefully at some point it is going to be Linda, who has provided the freebie to Jenny. So some of the things that could show Jenny that she really needs to consider a lot of different things. And one way to do that, say if you're this bespoke kitchen designer, is talk about measurements and standards that you need to have. If you're talking about floor plans or the kitchen floor plan, you've got to include enough room between the cabinetry and the island to move through the space easily. Generally, paths throughout a kitchen should be at least 36 inches or 91 centimeters wide. Aisles within the cooking zone should be about 42 inches or 107 centimeters, for example, wide for a one-cook kitchen, and 48 inches or 122 centimeters wide for a two-cook configuration. Now, I've just pulled this information offline, but these are specific things that, a kitchen needs to work, and for the kitchen to work, you've got to really consider the space available for that family and say one or two cooks to be able to easily work and exist together in this wonderful new space that's going to cost them a lot of money. So you really have to get this right. What about considering kids? What's the right height for the microwave? The correct height and location for a microwave oven will vary depending on the chef or the kid-friendly nature of the kitchen. A helpful kitchen design tip for adults is 15 inches or 38 centimeters above the countertop level for a good microwave height. However, a below countertop setup might be safer and more suitable if kids use the appliances. You want to start to bring in some of the expertise, a little bit of information on the stuff that you as the expert kitchen designer, Linda, would be considering when she starts to build this kitchen design for Jenny's family. So give Jenny the opportunity to get really engrossed in her needs and wants. She's filling out a top 10. It's got her thinking. It's got her asking questions of her husband and thinking about her 3 children. She wants her son to study in the kitchen. It's, for whatever reason. So there's a whole lot of bespoke things people need, and there's a market out there for people that want a really bespoke kitchen. So the free lead magnet for Linda, the custom kitchen designer for families, might include all of these things in there. So we've got inspiration for Jenny, and then we've got information, which is very technical. We're not going to bombard her with a whole Bible of technical information, Jenny, in this lead magnet, but we're going to give her food for thought. And we want her to think about whoever she's going to create this kitchen, do they have the ability and skill and technical expertise to be able to make this work, especially if this is going to cost, $100,000. So you can get where I'm going to with this lead magnet. This is really important. If you're getting people on your email list that have opted in for this specific niche down lead magnet that I've talked about, that Linda has got out there in the world, then you probably got people that are really, at some point, they're interested in actually fulfilling this whole design process. And they're going to need someone to do that. You can go to a kitchen company, but again, are they really going to, be thinking about all of these bespoke elements unless this particular client comes with that wish list, and then that client needs to check in with whoever's going to design the kitchen and make sure that they are aware of all these standards. And it may make sense to hire a designer to do the design, and then they can take that to whoever to actually, a builder, whoever, kitchen company, joiner, with a builder, whatever, to create the kitchen. So there you go. Just some ideas for a lead magnet. Have a think about your niche. If you don't have a niche currently, have a think and start to create a niche. What are the things you do really well? What are the things that, what are the superpowers that you have? Is it color? Is it patterns? Are you into kitchens? Are you into kitchen and bath design? Whatever your superpower is, you want to start to think of the client that you want to attract and then create a lead magnet around that. I've had a lead magnet for years. I realized that niching even further than I used to niche is important in 2024. I have a lead magnet on my website for consumers called Creating the Wow Factor, 5 Secrets to Jaw-Dropping Interiors. So that's on there. I put it in there because it really explores color, overscaled pieces, and the elements that I use in my design projects are what I talk about in the lead magnet, and that is how I built my list. Just some feedback on having a lead magnet and building a list. You could do other things with that in the future as well, and I'll talk about this in other episodes. It's not only getting people on as a full service client that you can aim for, it's also other things like consultations. I used to offer a two-hour power package to my list and get people buying them, where I'm only spending 2 hours with them and sending them a report and charging a good fee to send out this report, which is kind of a DIY thing. The other thing that I have done with my list is sell online courses. I sold a course in color, to my list that downloaded this Wow Factor PDF over the course of 2 or 3 years. I sold a color course that I created, and it was online, and they purchased that from me, and that did really well. I made nearly $12,000 out of this course that I put together during COVID and sold that to my audience that just opted in from my lead magnet at some point. That was my audience. So there's lots of reasons why having a lead magnet's really important. And these are the things. The one thing I wanted to cover in this episode is what is important in terms of those elements that you need to think about, and how to be really creative, but also be quite strategic in the way that you put this together, so that you're getting people's minds thinking, when they're reading this PDF, or they're watching a video series, or they've filled in a quiz. And you might do an email series with your email service provider, which I talked about on last week's episode, the importance of having an email list. And what you can do is put them on a sequence of emails after you get them opted in with your lead magnet, and then you're continuing to provide value over a course of a few days. The other thing you should always have is a call to action. I nearly missed this one. What do you want them to do at the end of downloading the lead magnet? Now, at the end of the lead magnet, maybe on the last page, you'll actually say, call me if you'd like to have a complimentary chat about your kitchen design project. Linda might have that there in her call to action for Jenny. So she's offering that straight up. Now, if Jenny doesn't take her up on that, she's going to continue with an email sequence of emails that will go on autopilot that you kind of create before you even think about having a lead magnet. If you have a lead magnet, it's important in the way that you put it together, but then you've also got to have continued communication with those people, continually. I talked about that last week. You really should be emailing the people that get on that list every week with some sort of helpful information, because you need to be kept top of mind. When they're ready, you're in their inbox. So they keep seeing you, and then it inspires them to eventually make the call when they're ready. So just some information on the lead magnet. So the 3 elements there, if I'm going to recap. Number 1, who do you want to attract is really important. What do you want them to do? Number 2, what do you want them to do with the information? So you want to get them thinking, but then you also want to get them inspired, but then thinking that they may need your help. So you want to think of ways that you can incorporate your expertise and potential sort of, getting them thinking about how they will need to get professional help with this. It's not something they'll probably be able to manage very easily themselves. That's the whole reason for you doing this, because you want to get clients and you want people to be on board with you as their go-to designer. Number 3 is you always want to have a call to action. So at the end of your PDF or at the end of your video series, you're going to offer them a 30-minute free call to discuss their project. You could give them tips. It's a complimentary call, and but then have some packages ready. Now, if you're the kitchen designer and you're Linda, you may say, "Do you have a kitchen designer?" And they may say, "Well, we're fine with that." Even though they might have appreciated the lead magnet, they may still not ask you to design the kitchen. Jenny may not ask Linda to design it. But she may want Linda to do the finisher schedules, which is all the handles and the pretty and the profile of the doors and the stone on the bench top, the lighting. So you could have a series of packages that suit different price points that you could offer when you get, or Linda could offer, if she gets that discovery call with Jenny, which is the call to action at the end of the lead magnet. So I hope I've given you some helpful information there. If you are struggling in your business, if you are, wondering what to do with some of those areas in your business that aren't quite working as well as they could be marketing, could be getting new clients, get on to the quiz. Take the quiz and let me know how you go. adamscougall.com/quiz. I'd love to hear your feedback. I'm always open to a conversation with you. You can always email me at adam@adamscougall.com. And I'd love a 30-minute, just no salesy. Let's have a chat for 30 minutes to hear about what's happening with you. This helps me with the podcast, your information, the things that you're struggling with, because, the one thing I want to do, and the reason that I've started the podcast, is I want to help people. I wanted to know that I could speak to someone about my struggles as I went through as a solopreneur, interior designer on my own. Sometimes it's a bit lonely. You need some advice, you need some help, and I'm here for you if you want to take up my offer to have a chat. Adam@adamscougall.com. Feel free to email me. I just want to finish here to say that I believe in you. I hope you're having a fantastic 2024. And, Marie Forleo, I hope I've said her name. I recently listened to a ebook or a book on Audible called Everything is Figure-Outable, and I really enjoyed it. And guess what? The whole idea behind that book is that whatever's happening in your life, if you sit down and think about it for long enough, you can create a strategy to deal with it. You could deal with anything, even if things are seemingly insurmountable in terms of what you need to get through at the moment. You'll be able to get through it. But I also hope too that you're having success, and I believe in you, and I think you're here for a reason. If you're watching this episode, I hope you got a lot out of it. Let me know in the comments if you're on YouTube. Let me know what you thought of this episode. It really helps with that algorithm, and it helps me to understand what's resonating with you. So if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, write that review if you can. Tell me what you really think, or just send me that email and let me know your thoughts. I'd love to hear from you as well. Adam@adamscougall.com. Going to leave it there. How's your lead magnet going? Have you got one? If you haven't got one, seriously think about creating one. Really get into it, have fun, and let me know how all that goes for you. I'd love to hear from you. Until next Tuesday, this is every Tuesday, podcast dropping every Tuesday. I will love and leave you. And until next time, bye for now.